Hey, welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm Wood. In this series we're comparing two accounts that I started at the same time on the same day, and I'm playing the same way with one major difference. One account is free to play, the other has a monthly spending budget of $50. It's day 103. Let's check our progress. Hey, thank you for joining me on day 103. I just wanted to go through, we have a green border around the free-to-play account. We have an orangish, yellowish border around the budget account, so when I switch back and forth you'll know. But I'm going to go to my main account. Main account has kind of a reddish border, and I wanted to show you in my inbox today, just probably about 20-30 minutes ago, showed up this message, born by a raven. Which is, that puts us in a whole different world that I'm not sure we have the copyright to, but anyway, I don't know if you can copyright a message delivery system. So maybe, a certain franchise should look into that. But anyway, this message born by a raven, because they're way cooler than carrier pigeons, says the Fae Father greets you. I don't know who the Fae Father is. I'm assuming it's the father of the Fae, like fairies or whatever. And in the game, it looks like the fairies belong, and I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent already here, but it looks like the fairies belong in the Sylvan Watchers, right? Because we've got Oella, and so I thought maybe, before the Sylvan Watchers was released as a faction, I thought that maybe the next new faction would be like a Fae faction, like fairies and stuff like that. But so yeah, I don't know what this hidden faction is going to be. I thought maybe this was a clue, but then I thought, well, maybe the Sylvan Watcher seems to be sort of Fae kind of heavy. It seems, I don't know, seems like they sort of go with that faction. But then later in the message, now I'll go back to it now that I've got my tangent out of the way. Fae Father greets you. It is a dire plight that moves me in this hour. Loki, once a dear friend of Asgard, so here we are with the Norse mythology, seeks to upend the very foundations of the world. He weaves enchanting lies, promising unbound freedom, and his arrogance could be the death of all. So now Loki's a new villain in the game. I don't know. That's not one that is covered by any kind of a IP or anything, but we must end this chaos at any cost. Act before it is too late. Seek me out and face my trial. For only the strongest will be able to thwart the deceiver, and they will need mighty war gear to do so. You cannot fail. Teleria itself is at stake. So I guess maybe just me, maybe I'm the only one that got this message. Maybe I'm the one responsible for saving the game and this world. I don't know. I hope it's not just me. I hope you're involved in this too. I've looked at the free-to-play account here. I do not have that message in the free-to-play. See, it's not there in my inbox. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I hope it's not, because that's a lot of pressure to put on my shoulders, and I'm not sure that I'm ready for something like that. I'm assuming that's for everybody in the game. Those of you who don't know about sarcasm, that was sarcasm. What I'm hoping is that that's maybe an introduction to something hopefully involving the new faction. We've had Sylvan Watchers for quite a while now, and it's always bugged me that we don't have the full 16 factions. The Nyrisian Union only has 3 factions, and the Corrupted, the Galen Pact, and the Talarian League all have 4. And so it puts them at quite a disadvantage, in my opinion. And I would really like to see that rectified. So I would like that to be something about this. But the other, and I think the obvious other possibility is in the dungeons. We saw some sneak peeks, that I guess we weren't supposed to see, but they're there. On the guys that are on the test server, they were showing a new dungeon was going to show up in here, and that's the clue with the mighty war gear. And so maybe it's a new gear dungeon, and that I think that tends to be the consensus of the speculation, is probably a new gear dungeon. Hopefully we'll get a new boss in there that presents a different challenge, and maybe hopefully not one that's too difficult to do. need some access to some of the other new gear. I really hope they don't come out with like 6 new gear sets or something to put in the dungeon. It would be nice to have more access to some of the gear sets that they've released in Forge Passes and maybe even in the Doom Tower. But I don't know if that's what it is, but that kind of seems like that to me. It would be nice though if they included the new faction in with this and maybe gave us a new 7-day login or something after the Ninja 7-day login or the 5-day login is over with again. Maybe a new, legendary from a new faction. That would be kind of a cool way to liven things up, and something that would help us in that dungeon. That might be a nice idea too. I don't know. Another idea that I had an idea that maybe if they don't want people skipping fusions, if they want people using up their resources to do fusions, that in the future they should do a fusion that's just a mediocre champion. Even this scored fusion, for example. I think the scored fusion is one where, they could, because I don't think everybody's going, I think it's kind of probably a 60-40, like maybe 40% of people are going for this fusion that can do it. That's just a guess on my part. But I think they should have a fusion kind of like this where not everybody goes for it. And then after the fusion, instead of doing a Titan event for the soul or something like that, just give the 5-star soul away. Just give it to everybody. And I think maybe that would cause people not to skip fusions in the future. They wouldn't have to do it with every fusion, but if you had that in your mind, I don't know, I'm giving them ideas, but if you had that in your mind, a player has that in their mind, they probably don't skip fusions anymore if they value those kind of things. So that's just something I was thinking about. But what they'll probably do is do another Titan event or something like that and have the soul available for the fusion. They never did that with Packmaster, just, and that was a fragment summon, but I think it's worth mentioning, they don't always have an event for the soul for champions when they do a fusion or a fragment summon. I am not doing, and I've said this many times, so if you haven't watched any of my other videos, you may not know, but I'm not going for this fusion on either of these 2 experiment accounts. So on the budget and the free-to-play, I'm taking this time as sort of a time to just build the champions that I have. We have a champion training event going on right now. This does have a rare for the scored fusion in it. And I have decided, it's funny, you would think that champion training events, you'd be able to train the champions that you want to use. And I always get, midway into training something, and then it's no longer efficient to keep training that champion. You can't keep running them through Minotaur. The levels, when you're leveling up champions up to 60 or whatever, it becomes extremely inefficient to level them up past a certain point. And, like the first 15, 20, maybe even 25 levels is kind of efficient. But then after you get past that, and so what you end up doing is having a whole bunch of champions leveled up to a 6-starred, but leveled up to a certain point, and then you have to work on making new food. And if you want to keep doing that, you almost never have a chance to take a breath and just run some of your champions through Minotaur. And if you're buying energy, then yes, that's something you have a chance to do. You can run them through overnight or whatever using your excess energy. But if you're free to play, it's difficult to do that. You try and use the energy you have as efficiently as possible, but then sometimes you never end up building all your champions. And so I'm taking this time to sort of run my champions through Minotaur. I'm going to take the next couple of weeks, back off of events, whatever they may be. I'm just going to sort of take this time. I need to get my masteries on my ninja. I'd like to finish building my seer. That's a 6-star I need to do. I need to finish my masteries on my cold heart, finish working on artifacts, maybe do some spider farming where it doesn't really belong, just so I can get the silver to be able to level up more artifacts in the artifact enhancement events that'll be coming up in the next few weeks. So I will be participating in some events, but for example, I got Rhodos weeks ago and I still don't have all of his masteries finished. And he's one that it's a no-brainer. You should, if you get a Rotos, you should be running him through. But I've been focused on so many events that I haven't really focused on improving my account by building the champions that I have. So over the next couple weeks, I'm going to start backing off a little bit. I'm going to play pretty casually over the next few weeks. And I probably won't have too many update videos in that time. So if you feel like you're missing out on seeing some progress, I apologize for that. But I have some things to do in my personal life that I need to get done. And I thought this would be a nice 2 weeks to be able to take that time. So as I do that, I'll just be going through a lot of Minotaur. We do have clan versus clan coming up. And I thought I'd mention this also just because. No personal rewards on this one that are showing, but they are having 2 times on Minotaur objectives. So if anybody's looking for an opportunity to do some Minotaur and catch up on some of the champions you started building but then you left off, like the situation that I feel like I'm in, it might be a good time to do some of that. It's not personal rewards, so it's not really high stakes. But we will be getting a little bit extra credit. And if you are doing the Scored fusion like I am on my main account, the right time to finish that fusion and fuse the Scored will be during the clan versus clan. It's 30,000 free points, and in my clan we don't, there's not too much pressure to do a lot of points during non-personal rewards, CVCs. And so in this time when I feel like I'm going to be backing off of both my main account and both of the experiment accounts. It'll give me some points, and then I won't feel a lot of pressure to score a lot of points for the CVC, even though really there's not that much pressure anyway. But there's a certain standard that you have to maintain. I thought I'd also mention they have a Sand Devil turn attack today that started. Looks like another event that's outside of the fusion. This one obviously not a Prism Crystal one because we don't have prisms this week. So, that's just something that if you're not doing the fusion, get some soul stones and a few other little rewards that might be kind of nice to have. An attack, a 6-star attack glyph is kind of cool. So it's funny when they give away glyphs. I almost feel like, man, the RNG on the glyphs is so high that and then they always start these tag arena tournaments during the weekend when people don't have their one-man defenses up, when everybody's really trying to maintain gold 2 or gold 3 or whatever they're in. And so it's kind of hard to get a lot of your fights in. And so when we start farming today, but then so remember that you get a lot of extra points for doing tag arena during CVC. And I think this weekend is also tag arena objectives. No, it's not. It's faction war objectives. Okay, so save your faction war keys tonight after the reset, and save your faction war keys until CVC starts. It's just free points, and it may not help your clan win or anything like that, but you might as well get the free points and build up to the rewards. So now I always save my Iron Twins, my tag arena, and my faction wars. I save all of that stuff and I wait until after clan versus clan starts to get it all done. But like I said, during the next couple of weeks, I'm going to just be logging in to do my dailies, which takes enough time as it is. But I will be getting my dailies done and using my energy in a lot of multi-battles just to run my champions through Minotaur. I'll probably be doing some champ training. When a champ training event is going on and I have enough food, I'll be leveling up some of the champions that I do want to keep working on. But yeah, I need to catch up, and I think the next couple of weeks is going to be a good time for me to do that. So I won't be doing too many videos, probably 2 or 3 videos over the next couple of weeks, and I'll try and keep tabs on what I'm working on so that because the comparison still needs to be made between the 2 accounts. I have some money to spend on the budget account. I need to kind of catch up on how much because I've saved money over the last 2 months, $20 per month I've sort of saved, and I've sort of banked it just in case there was a good offer or something. And there was a good offer at the beginning of the Scored fusion, and I thought about it, but I just didn't do it. And when I say good, I mean relatively good as far as the game goes. They overvalue I think they overvalue everything in the game. I'll give you an example. This offer that just showed up, this Ultimate Power Pack, it's given out over 3 days, which you can kind of get it in two. Like if you were to purchase this, before the reset, you get the first reward and then you get the second reward right after the reset, and then you get the third reward 24 hours later. So really, over a day and a half, you can actually get all 3 rewards. But that's beside the point. They just split it out over time, and you're getting 3 energy refills, 2 lots of 200 energy, 300,000 silver, which is almost nothing, a couple of 5-star chickens, and 2 legendary books. And in my region where I live, it's $20 for that pack. Now I don't, and that probably reflects my spending level, I guess. But yeah, that's just with 2 legendary books, and you think, well, legendary books are really difficult to get in the game. And 5-star chickens, I guess, earlier game, they're pretty valuable, because you think about how much energy you spend to make one 5-star chicken. It's quite a bit. It's a lot of energy. But this energy isn't that much energy. I guess the 5-star chickens represent quite a bit of energy, but then only 2 legendary books. And $20, to me, that's a significant amount of money to spend on a game. And I'm spending, and my plan is to spend $50 a month. And I thought, well, this might be something to consider. And I thought, wait a second, this really isn't worth it. When you think about booking a legendary champion, I think they average about 10. Some are more and some are less, but I think they average 10 to 12 probably to completely book a legendary champion, and to get 2, for $20 plus a couple of 5-star chickens. I mean, I don't think that's worth it, even for, this account where I'm actually experimenting with spending. And they also have this, I guess it's a relatively new daily energy pack. I haven't really added it up yet. And it's a 2-week, it's a 2-week thing. It's a 14-day pack that they deliver this over for $20. And, I think the daily gem pack is still way more efficient, but I guess this daily energy may be something to consider. So I don't know. I'm kind of debating where to put, the $40 that I have saved over the last 2 months, plus the $20 that I'm probably saving this month if I buy the next Forge Pass. And I have, what I had thought about doing on the budget account, I had thought about renewing the raid card as soon as, the 6 months ran out, so that I would have the first raid card cover the first 6 months of the experiment, and then the second raid card cover the second 6 months of the experiment. But I'm starting to think it's not worthwhile. I think there's other places to spend the money where you would actually get more benefit, more chickens, maybe more silver. If you look at the extra XP and silver, if you bought a chicken pack, it might add up to the value that maybe we would have gotten for this raid card. So I'm starting to think there might be better places to put the money than the raid card. I thought early on that would be an efficient use of the money, but I'm just not seeing the benefit of it as much, especially as I compare the budget to the free-to-play. I'm not that much further ahead. I maybe have one more 6-star, I think. Yeah, when I go through the champion filter and just do 6-star champions, I have 10 on the budget account as of right now. I actually have some food also, and I'm on my way to my 11th. And if we go back to the free-to-play account, run the filter the same way, I'm pretty sure it's only 9. No, it's 10. So I have the same number of 6 stars. Now, the one caveat that I will admit, the RNG of getting a mythical champion, they start out as a 6-star, so that didn't need to be made into a 6-star. You can say I've made one less 6-star champion on the free-to-play than I have made on the budget account, but I have 10. Just like on the budget account. So some RNG makes up for the spending. My flawed logic told me that I would be way further ahead than this after almost 3.5 months of play. I thought I'd probably have at least, 2 more 6-star champions on the budget account, just out of, just because of that raid card. What I found more impactful have been the Forge Passes over the last 2 months. Now, of course, the Forge Pass costs more per month, a lot more per month. But I'm not seeing the value of the raid card, so I don't think that I'll be renewing it. So I'm going to figure out a different, place to put the money, and maybe that daily energy pack is the way to go. just to keep the experiment going and to be true to the, setting aside $50 a month. I just want to do it in the most efficient way possible and not, not just buy shards or something. Although I don't think there's a problem with buying shards. At least they're chickens if they turn out to be bad champions. I'm debating some of those things. But I'm probably not going to do anything drastic over the next couple of weeks. And I'll just probably be collecting resources. Hopefully the next fusion will be one that we want to do, and I'll collect enough resources over that period of time to be able to be in a position to do that. So that's where my head is right now. I hope you're well. I hope let me know in the comments what you think about the spending. If you have an opinion about what you think is more efficient, what do you think is coming in the new dungeon? Is it going to be a gear set dungeon or maybe something even more special? Do you think we're going to get a new faction out of this? Or is that too many things at once? Maybe that's too many things at once. With the siege and everything going, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to introduce too much at one time. Does the Fae Father's message give you pause? Is it just about the gear dungeon, or maybe it's something else? Let me know what your speculation is in the comments, if you don't mind. And because I'm not making too many more videos over the next couple weeks, if you want to be sure to know when I upload next, so that you can sort of keep tabs on the experiment that we're doing here, you could subscribe and do the notification bell. Just so that, because I'm not sure if I'm making fewer videos a week, if they're going to push it out like normal. So if you've already done that, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, that might be something to consider. And so I'd appreciate that if you did that as well. But yeah, let me know what you think about the cryptic message. They've done this in the past. They did it with the Sun Wukong. They sort of released a trickle of information, and everybody speculated. And I think, there were a lot of people were right pretty early on about, that it was going to be a Sun Wukong and that's what was happening. They tried to keep it on the DL a little bit, and I kind of, that's kind of fun sometimes. So I'm glad they're doing something like that. Hopefully it'll be a new gear dungeon that we can maybe have access to some of the gear sets that we need more pieces of to be able to successfully put some sets together to be able to conquer some of the content that we have in the game. Yeah, so hopefully when we meet next, there will be a new dungeon here and I hope it's good. That's we always hope it's good. That's my hope. But I hope you're well and that everything's going well in your life. Thank you for your kind attention and all other kinds of attention. I've been Wood, and I hope to see you soon. I appreciate you.